Welcome in the ATB show at the buzzer. Scotty Dukes, Rubber Shoes, yours truly, live from Portsmouth. Scotty Dukes in beautiful downtown Southern Maine, and Rubber Shoes from our Lowell studios. Brought to you by our friends at AAA Work Trucks, who are feverishly behind the morning musings of Rubber Shoes, who brings you all of the. I'm going to say this with love, buddy, because we do it. You do it with heart and soul. Everything you can find on your phone in 5 seconds, Rubber Shoes lays out in a good solid 15 minutes. How long is it? What do you usually spend crafting
minutes.
your stories?
Oh, crafting them?
Yeah.
Probably from when I get back from the gym to when it's posted is probably 20 minutes.
Best Fitness, by the way, ladies, if you want to go watch him work on his glutes.
No. Oh, yeah,
no?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought so.
Yeah,
no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. No. I thought you said Planet Fitness. That's what I was like,
no. Scotty and
I do
I
have a
refer to that as
membership.
Planet Fatness, by the way.
Yeah, I have a membership to Planet Fatness also.
Yeah, yes, of course. Why wouldn't you? For Bagel Tuesdays.
So when I'm
Pizza
down on the
Wednesdays or
Cape.
whatever it is. Yeah. Anyway, our good friends at AAA Work Trucks, who love us so much, they give us some help in the morning, and doesn't everybody need some help, especially when you're tolerating Rubber Shoes, and all of his stories and antics. And the shirt you have on, the Marcus Smart shirt, we're going to talk about that. I do believe Scotty Dukes is wearing a bird shirt, which we adore, and it's sort of twofold here because we're celebrating Larry Bird and the bird that was all over the Garden, flying out of the hands of Flatlander Kyrie Irving. So much to talk about there. I love it. Bring it on. We are minutes away now because it's Wednesday night. We are live just after 5 o'clock on the East Coast. And the Celtics will get back at it for Game 2 with our friends from Brooklyn at the Garden in mere, we could say now in mere minutes, which is pretty cool. So much to get into. Adam is on assignment. Little Shoes is with Little Heels, or he's working, or both. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, he's working.
Working. So dedicated. So let's get into it. Where do we want to start, boys? What do we want to
I want to give a shout out first to the owners of AAA Work Truck, Joey and Leslie, who are at the Celtics game tonight.
Oh.
Cheering on our...
Pardon me, Senator.
The green.
Wow, good for them.
Yeah, they were like, should we bring Rubber Shoes? They're like, I feel like his armpits are going to be exposed. Maybe we'll leave him home.
They asked me if I wanted to go. I said, I got to do the show. I can't go to the game.
Yeah.
Is that really? I don't think that. No.
By the way, Spindrift, not a sponsor yet. Yeah. So, yeah, if you were headed, just because we can't get enough wardrobe talk. My CFO, Kaylee, who is an avid viewer of the show, she's like, I just want to see his closet. Like this is going like Kramer Seinfeldian level. Like people want a tour of Rubber Shoes wardrobe. Are we selling tickets to that?
A lot of the stuff that I wore in the past, I don't have anymore. I don't have any more Isaiah Thomas jerseys. I don't have any.
They're all archived at the Smithsonian.
I have been eyeing a Magic Johnson one, but I haven't. I figure if I pull the trigger on that, I have to get the hat, I have to get the sneakers to match, and it's.
I mean, you don't, but by all means,
few $100 to tie it all together.
All right. You're like the white Radio Raheem. He really is. There's so much going on. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah,
there's a lot happening.
Yeah. And I do appreciate that you go full farmer's tan because it's only mid-April. And because by the time we get back, it'll be gone. So I'm going to be the first to say it. Happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you.
I believe on the 23rd you turned the 5-1, right?
Yep.
Do you have a shirt for that?
Michael Jordan, 51? No, I don't.
Michael
I don't
Jordan,
have
23. No, 51.
Yeah, I don't have a.
No,
I was thinking about it, but yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to even think of a 50. I mean, I'm sure there's a Patriot that's 51, but
this is the best part of
can't
my
think
day.
of.
I love the cats during the show. What's the cat's name?
Anna.
Anna. Okay.
Yeah, she's
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
Nope. She just won't.
That's fine. All right. How was the show? It was a cat-ass trophy. That's how it was. Yep. Yeah, we can see what she had for breakfast. This is exciting.
Is that Shaq saying, "How's my ass taste"?
How's my cat? All right. We already, before we came on the air, we were, we always try to sort of pretend to cobble together what we think we're going to talk about. It's going to go somewhere. And Rubber Shoes wanted to make a point to Scotty that he hadn't yet prepared all of the mathematics for his draft conversation. So we're going to leave that until next week. We're definitely
haven't
going
done
to
the
get into the Celtics.
analytics yet.
We're going to talk about, obviously, the Red Sox off to a decent start. Emotionally, I want to amend. I know I said 83 wins, and I'm sticking to that. But I guess if in the moment I was more emotional, I would have said 102, the 2 being for Remdog, right? But I'm sticking to my just over 500.
82.
I'm sticking to my just over 500. No, because I think they need to be over 500. I just don't know. But we're not going to get there, though, because it's not 162 games. What is the total now?
Yeah, it's 162. So you can do 82 and be over 500.
No, they canceled those other games.
They canceled games at the
They
top of the
canceled
season.
it. They're not going to make those up.
There's no way they're going to make that up.
No, they're not going to. No, they're getting rid of like it's. I want to say it's it's a really random number. It's like 149 or 148, something like that. I'll look it up. But it's a super random number.
Yeah. So whatever that number is. So my 83 is actually wrong. But I'm not going to change it now. I'm sticking with 83, but it is less than 162 because of the cancellation.
Because everyone's still doing predictions as far as the 182. So
the 162.
I thought they initially they canceled it, but when they agreed to it, they were going to make them up.
It's not many games, so they probably are going to make them up. Maybe we are wrong. It's happened before. Scotty and I have been wrong occasionally, but I do feel like they're just going to ignore them because it's not like and here's the thing: the reason they did what they did, we talked about this before. If they got to the 144 mark, they were going to start to chew into their regional sports network agreements, and they were going to have to start giving money back. So, ironically, both owned by John Henry, the Red Sox would have been giving money back to NESN. But I don't.
So I guess they are pushing for 162. They built in 31 doubleheaders.
Oh my God.
31 doubleheaders. So they're doing the 162. They are squeezing it in.
I'm glad we're peeling this orange because I've got questions to ask. And I know, obviously, when they had the conversation and they only agreed to some of the stuff. There was all the things they were fighting about, the reason the season got delayed. And then they found common ground. Baseball's back, which is amazing because and Fenway, now they've added the Truly Terrace. Like Fenway, I know people dislike it. And I know that if you're buoyant enough, like myself, for sure, you can struggle sitting in those lovely seats from before the Depression and try to double fist at the same time. So while it has its, I'll use this word for myself and my buoyant friends, while it has its restraints, it is a phenomenal venue. It is a historical jewel, and they just keep adding to it. Now, I don't know structurally sound. I don't argue that at all because I didn't grab my degree in structural engineering. It's a horrifying thought when you think about what they've built on top of what was originally there. But now with the Truly Terrace, now with the NESN studio, the TV group and the radio group, I think are all enjoyable personalities. I know some people don't love Maz. I love Maz. I could listen to him whine about Boston sports forever.
I think he's been
enjoy
phenomenal.
both local stations. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think Maz has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
on NESN.
Been really good. And I think everybody's going into this with, everybody knows what shoes they're trying to fill. And it's just like, don't even try. Like, Uke was great last night.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
Uke was awesome.
You never will. So I thought that they had voted against the shift, but the shift was happening the other day. And Scotty, you talked about the fact that they're going to do some double headers to make up for the series that was lost at the top of the season. When they go into a rain delay or they continue it to the next day, there was always throw the man on second base, right? Just to get the runner in scoring position. And
that's extra innings.
That's extra innings. Yeah. So are they continuing that, or is that gone?
Yes.
They are.
It's still happening.
And I
think they pretty much they didn't adopt any new rules for the game except for the miking up the umps, I think, is the only thing that's different. They're looking at stuff, trying stuff out in the minors. I guess I heard something yesterday that they started the clocks in the AAA, and the games have been averaging about 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay.
They've already shortened them by like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's I saw that too for in the minors. The only other thing that they're also doing this year they didn't do last year, or they did do last year, they're not doing this year. Doubleheaders played as 7 inning games.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually been repealed, so their doubleheaders are back to 9 innings.
Interesting. Okay.
And the rosters also got expanded. So before it was 26, now it's 28. So
I think that might just be temporary.
The DH everywhere. That's obviously
because they had the reduced spring training. I think they expanded it just for, I think it might just be a month, and then they go back to their normal. But either way, I think it's good.
I think so.
Especially the way they use pitchers now.
They opened with 16 pitchers. The Yankees did. It was ridiculous. I remember I was listening to EI or the radio station on the way in or way back from golf on opening day for the Red Sox, and someone had mentioned that. I'm like, that's insane. 16 pitchers is out of control.
How did Chicken and Beer go, by the way?
Oh, so much fun. So much fun. Atkinson Country Club, to shameless plug, that place was awesome. Had a lot of fun. Played 45 holes in 2 days. Yeah.
Oh, 2 days. I was like, dude, what?
2 days. 2 days. We played 27 on Thursday, and then we played 18 on Friday. And it was an absolute blast. Totally doing it next year. Open invitation. Anyone wants to come and get drunk and swing some clubs for 36 hours, by all means. So it was a lot of fun.
So you did straight up opening day. So when the Red Sox were at the Yankees in the Bronx,
they got canceled that Thursday. Yeah, they got canceled that Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
So we missed that, but we had already booked everything. So I was like, whatever. And then we listened to the game on Friday as we were heading out back to our normal lives.
Yeah, but yes,
had to do that, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, it's all good. The other thing with baseball, by the way, they extended the regular season to October 5th, so they pushed it out a little bit.
All right.
So that'll be interesting. So they're definitely playing postseason baseball in November. I feel like that's almost a guarantee at this point. So going to be some freaking cold games there.
Yeah. Yes, because they're going to get into that first week in November, which is pretty cool. So I think the team itself, story looks great. I think the hitting is, it's the first 20 minutes of the season. I'm not worried about that. I think our biggest concern, certainly, I think most people that were paying attention to the team, the one black eye was pitching, and it seems to be serviceable. I mean, any concerns? What are the high points for you?
You want to go first, Billy? Okay. I mean, honestly, for me, Evaldi's been, as advertised, right? They kind of they pushed him out. Obviously, with him, the de facto number one, because Chris Sale, hurt himself again. As he just continues to just be super fragile. Really happy and really surprised by the bullpen. That's been I thought that was something I think we all even said that might be their weakest part of their team, but they've been really, really solid. Held on and really given the Red Sox a chance to actually win a few games too, to battle back with, the offense was struggling if the starter wasn't great. So that's some of the high points. Low points is Pavetta's been atrocious. He's been so bad. His ERA is at 6. They got some young kids up too. Cutter Crawford, I think he'll figure things out. He hasn't looked great out of the pen yet, but other guys like Diekman and Strom and those guys they look good. I'm really impressed. I'm impressed with the young talent that they've brought up so far.
Yeah, that. So I wasn't worried too much about the starting pitching coming into the season. They lost Erod, but they picked up Waka, and I thought Tanner Houck was going to take a step forward this year. So I didn't think they were going to drop off much from there. And one of the things that Chaim Bloom did in Tampa is he replenished the bullpen every year. They went out and tried new people, and for some reason he has a knack for grabbing these guys. They probably lost, I think, 4 guys from the bullpen last year and brought in 4 new guys, and they've been pretty good. And even with the addition of Robles and Davis at the end of last year, Robles has looked really good this year, and Strom looks awesome. Cutter Crawford had a good debut. Well, not debut. He pitched last year, but good first game against the Yankees, and then he's been awful the last two games. Yeah. But I think that I wasn't worried about that, and their hitting's gonna come around. It's just like I said last week on the show, coming from Florida in the 70s, 80s degrees up to drizzly 50 northeastern weather is
Right.
got to be horrible to try to adapt to.
Right.
Yeah.
So once it warms up, usually the hitters warm up and they're going to come around.
And I know they were both on Toronto last year, and I know we saw them play on Toronto last year, and yet I still feel older watching Bo Bichette and and Vladdy Jr. And Bo looks so much like Dante. It's unbelievable. What do you think for that team? Like, because I think they pose probably the biggest, unless the Yankees. I feel like the Yankees are always capable of just lighting themselves on fire. Do you think they pose the biggest threat in the East, or are we just in one of the toughest? I think we're also in a very tough division.
I think we're in the toughest division in baseball.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, outside of Baltimore is terrible, but they beat the Yankees a couple of days ago, but which was glorious. Without a doubt, we're in the toughest division in baseball. But Tampa Bay is really good again. Obviously Toronto, and then the Yankees, but. I think Toronto is still like on the rise. I still think they're coming up, and just Tampa doesn't ever want to go away. New York, I could see kind of. I would love to see some implosion there, considering the fact like Judge is pissed because he didn't get his freaking contract, and Garrett Cole can't use the sticky stuff, so he's not really super happy. And
Right.
I don't know. It's just there's a bunch of stuff there that I would love to see New York just go, and I'd be so happy.
Yes.
Well, last year you figured it was 4 teams fighting for 3 playoff spots. We had, the Yankees and Red Sox got the play-in game, and Tampa won the division. And Toronto was like a game out. It was between New York, Boston, and Toronto down the last week of the season.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be the same thing this year. It's going to be those 4 teams fighting. And I think they added a team to the playoffs this year. I think that was one thing they added some to the playoffs. So maybe all 4 make the playoffs this year. That would be crazy.
Yeah. What do you in the West? Not in the West, but in the NL. Like, who's the team that you're watching right now that last year wasn't on the map? And can you watch that? Like, to me, I have zero desire outside of we have our connection. We've got our good friend Alex who does the in stadium. He's the PA announcer for the Padres. Like, if I catch that, I'll listen just to hear him making his announcement. What's that?
And the show. MLB The Show.
Also in MLB The Show. If you have the video game MLB The Show, our good friend
Every
Alex
year.
Miniak is the voice in all the stadiums.
Did I ever tell you that he recorded an intro for Logan?
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Unbelievable. And it was awesome because Logan was playing baseball before pandemic and all that.
Yeah.
He recorded an intro for him and sent it over. But it actually made me a cool dad for like 6 months. It was awesome.
Yeah, when he first got the contract with Sony, he said, "Did you get the game yet? I know you're gonna." And I'm like, "We haven't gotten it yet." And he's like, "Give me 2 days." And he sent out a signed autograph version of that.
That's awesome.
The coolest thing, ironically though, like I would always make sure that I had whatever Sony's latest system is so we could get the show. And now that it's on all the consoles, we still have the PlayStation 5, but it sits there like the coolest piece of artwork in our house because we don't really use it as much as the boys are much more Xbox Series X. But really cool. So, I mean, outside of watching that to hear him talking, I'm not throwing on the Giants and anybody. Just to watch NL baseball. And I've already told you I even snob when it comes to the Red Sox. I have a real hard time watching the Red Sox play at Tampa Bay in the garage or playing at whatever the name of their cockamamie ballpark is in the Chicago White Sox, because I feel like it changes every 20 minutes. But I just think venue for me with baseball, because it is so, and I think this is why, and I don't know how we got here, but welcome. I think because it's such a slow-moving sport, it needs to be aesthetically pleasing. And so many of these ballparks are. But they're also, like, I think the amenities are great, but you're not showing me the men's room with the bidet. I don't get to see that. So if the ballpark is not curated a certain way, I have no desire to watch. And I think just Fenway, and yes, we're 1,000% homer statement here, but I think just Fenway is a fun game, a fun park to watch on TV with all the sight lines and just everything about it,
Well, out of the professional sports, I think baseball itself, the venue, the park itself, plays such a larger role than any other venue, than any other like place you go, because of the dimensions and stuff like that too. You know what I mean? Football, you got the 100 yards, right? Basketball, same thing. And like the court's the same. It's all pretty much the same. Where baseball, it's completely different. Whether you're going to Seattle or New York or Boston, whatever, it's all going to be different. And I think that you're right. It's like it's an additional player to watch and to be a part of. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm not. The thing is with me, like when it comes to baseball, I strictly watch the Red Sox. If there's like a Sunday night game and it's Mets Marlins or whatever, I'm not going to watch that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to dial in. If it's Monday Night Football, you know what I mean, and it's like Colts Broncos, yeah, I'll watch it just because it's what I mean. It's a different thing there. It's also baseball. We talked about the pitch clock, gaining like 20 minutes. That makes a big difference, I think, for the world that we live in now, where they have to kind of speed some of these things up. Because a lot of people aren't sitting unless you really, really love the sport and sitting and watching it.
And I love that they brought back and I was annoyed at first, and then because I read something about it, because I was thinking, well, the city connects, and I think a lot of people look at those and just call them the marathon uniforms, and I love those. And I think the intention is to wear them beyond marathon weekends. There's going to be some other weekends throughout the year that they do wear the city connects. I think they're phenomenal. Like the best part of Nike taking over all the sports is Nikifying all the sports and making all these really cool uniform tweaks. So I think for people that don't understand, because I heard a few people say this, well, why didn't they wear the marathon uniforms on Marathon Monday? Well, because they wore the Boston Strong uniforms. Because if you remember, that uniform with the different lettering that says Boston on the front was what Big Papi was wearing when he swore, right?
Yep.
So those are the Boston Strong uniforms when he said, "This is our fucking city," which is like the greatest moment on Nesson's ever had. If they could turn back, and they play it all the time and cut it, but it's like just let it play. Like when you show that highlight, to play it without the F-bomb, without him swearing, which was so passionate in the moment because it was the first time. I think before that game, probably one of the second. I mean, there's so many good Boston sports moments. The Bruins game, which I think was 2 nights later. The Bruins game at the Garden, and help me, who used to sing the national anthem?
Oh, Rene Rancourt.
Rene Rancourt, and Rene Rancourt started singing, and then he stopped, and the crowd took it. Like if you were watching that and didn't like get allergies, I don't know who you are. Like that was a moment, right? And then for that, and I think it was a couple days later, the Red Sox come back to Boston, and I think they had a shirt hanging in the dugout that said 617, and they all had those Boston uniforms on, and he dropped the F-bomb, which was just phenomenal. It's funny because they were cutting the footage, and they show the mayor and all the first responders shaking hands with the team, and he's making his speech and lets the F-bomb fly, and we're like, did that just happen? That did just happen. That was pretty cool. So good. So good. Hit Dog and his son throwing out the first pitch. Let's talk about feeling old. Did you see that?
I missed it.
No, I had to work. I don't have TVs in my office like some people.
Mo Vaughn. Was that opening day? Maybe it was opening day.
Oh, Mo Vaughn, yes.
Mo Vaughn comes out with his son.
Fenway opening day, yeah.
Yeah, Fenway opening day. And his son throws out the first pitch. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, apparently his son is like a stud, by the way. Like his son is going to be ridiculous.
And he'll probably go to the Yankees, which will be great. So, yeah, that's going to be good.
He was on the radio broadcast. I didn't catch the Nessa, but I caught a little bit of the radio broadcast, and Vaughn was on, and someone had it wasn't Joe Castig. I can't remember someone had asked him about basically how do you perceive like getting more black players in the majors. Mm-hmm. Vaughn had this really incredible response, which was baseball is really hard. You have to really love the sport. This isn't a sport that's going to be, get you there fast, get you money, get you recognition really fast. And so, kids have to understand that. And if they love the game, then they'll play. Yeah. NBA, NFL, you're going to get recognition. You'll probably get paid a lot faster, things like that. So that's where a lot of the African-American kids are going, right? A lot of the black players are going that way. The ones that, and he's like basically saying the ones that we want in the majors in baseball are the ones that are going to love it. The ones that want to be here. And he's like, we advertise, and because he has his league down in Boca something in Florida. There's a lot of Bocas down there. And so he's like, he's got his old academy and all that down there. And he's like, we just advertise. We try to bring them in. We teach them, as much as we possibly can, and kind of move them in the direction of understanding what they're buying in here. And it's going to take time. And he's like, that's the biggest issue in his eyes of trying to keep black athletes in baseball. And he's 100% right. I thought it was like the way he first started, it sounded super racist. But like, just because he was like basically saying like, kids want it right away. They're not going to wait for it. But,
sure. Well, and I think it's super important, the differentiation. I think when people think about, because if somebody's got the sound off, if somebody's not, if you're not Alex Miniak at the Padres up in the booth reading the last names, like he had to major in Spanish to be able to do what he does, right? So trill the R, damn it, right? So if you're not looking at country of origin, last name, you got the sound off, you're not listening, you view and see white skin and dark skin, and you see white kids and black kids, but those aren't black athletes. Those are not African American athletes. Those are Latin athletes. And I think that's where where that concept gets skewed with baseball, because people don't realize that that's not the same. And so when Hit Dog is making that comment about black athletes or African American athletes, there's a massive gap, because most of the athletes that you see on the field that the passerby would say, white athlete, black athlete. Well, no, that's a Latin athlete, and that skews the understanding of the true math that's on the field and the grind. For any of these athletes in any sport, it's a grind to get to a professional level. There's only 53 players on an NFL team, right? And you're like, I'm going to play Pop Warner, Dad. And we've all gone through that conversation, like the probability of them getting to the next level, collegiate, and then the next level professional, few and far between. The kids that are willing to go through the grind. And when you look into certain sports and you look in certain communities that don't have the affluence that some other communities have, it's a lot easier for any community to say, park down the street has a basketball hoop and I need a ball. Doesn't have to be a professional ball. Doesn't need to be a leather ball. I don't need a peach basket. It's down the street. I just need a ball, and I can get started. And then you can grow with very little lean into finances to get a better basketball and some better shoes. And the skill set can, and that's also something you can do alone on a regular basis.
Right.
A kid can go out and shoot. One tenacious kid can go shoot, and get better faster than the kid that's waiting for somebody to throw to them. Exactly. Or waiting for somebody to hit fungos to them. So what a great point Hit Dog made. And who doesn't love Hit Dog? If he left us nothing else, it's probably some of the best commentary from, what was it, his speeding ticket? Mm-hmm. Where they turned it into the like, it was like a Seinfeldian trial, because the girl's coming out. She's like, so later that night at the Foxy Lady, you got 2 omelets, 3 beers, and 14 lap dances. Like, he spent $5,000 on food at a strip joint. And I think for most guys, that will just live in infamy. The menu, all the money he spent in one night, and then got on 95 and decided to drive, and he shouldn't have done that. So we're lucky that he's alive. We're glad nobody got hurt, and it's a trial that will live in infamy. Yeah, the court stenographer was like, "I have to go to confession after typing."
I feel dirty after this.
Yeah, amazing. Baseball. Are we good on the Red Sox right now?
Well, I just wanted to say that I watch as much of baseball as possible. I love the free package of MLB extra innings. I don't pay for it, but I'll watch any the weekly
He steals it
game
from his
or
neighbor.
whatever.
Keep going.
No, I don't steal. I get the free stuff until the trial week's over, and then I just watch it on MLB Network.
Yep.
And this year I got roped into playing a fantasy baseball league for the first time in like 25 years. So,
wait a minute, how much is it?
Oh, just $30.
I was gonna say, if there's no money involved, like. I know you're not going to dip your beak into a league without money involved. So how many people are in for $30 a head? The name of my team
is, excuse me?
How many people are in for $30 a head?
10 teams, I believe.
300 simoleons on the line. How are the payouts happening?
That I don't know. I was asked the day before opening day, and the draft was that night. they're like, "Oh, do you want to be in a fantasy baseball league? I need to fill spots, and we need to do the draft."
And
I'm like,
Rubber
"Oh,
Shoes is, I happen to have a $30 bill right here. I'm in.
And
So
yeah,
shady.
so the name of my team, it's been a while because I don't even. When I did fantasy baseball before, it wasn't even the same way that they do it now. It's like
Sabermetrics.
It's similar. Yeah, it's just categories. So many. There's like 6 or 7 different categories for hitters and 6 or 7 different categories for pitchers, and whatever your team has better in those positions, you get a point for each one. And so it's so I didn't even know like who should I be drafting.
You ever
like,
see the
what
movie?
type of player? I'm like,
You see the movie Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe? Yeah. I like it. Do you have a whiteboard going, or you just writing with a Sharpie on your bedroom window? Like, what is happening? How are you doing all these algorithms?
it was tough. So there's been a lot of, and the thing is, there's a
you gotta tweak it every day.
But there's a maximum amount of moves you can make in a week. You can only make 6 changes, like drops and pickups. So it's like you trying to fine tune the team. But I can only make 6 drops in 1 week. So I'm like, so I reached my max last week, and the opening week was an extended week because the opening day was on a Wednesday or Thursday, so it was like a week and a half instead of just a week. So I had to go an extra.
So, Scotty, if you call Rubber Shoes, here's why he's not picking up the phone. Full-time firefighter, full-time working for his the automotive company, full-time podcaster, doing a quick morning show every morning, and then preparing for the draft for next week's episode. And now he's running algorithms and abaci, probably multiple abacuses, just to figure out what his pitching starting lineup is going to be every day. Because this is what is amazing to me, and the fact that you're married, because you might be the only guy in your league that is married. Like, to then maintain a marriage after maintaining a daily lineup. Fantasy football is like, oh shit, it's Saturday, better check my lineup.
Yeah. So it's
like basketball,
I do most
hockey,
of my
or baseball is like.
When I'm at the gym in the morning, I'm usually tinkering the lineup for the day, so it works out good. I'm up at 4:30 every morning, go to the gym and do my lineup while I'm there on the whatever cardio machine for the day.
He's on the Stairmaster, working the glutes, writing on a whiteboard, trying to figure out all the math.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Basketball is easy, in my opinion, compared to baseball. I haven't done baseball in a couple of years now. Basketball, you just would go in on Monday and just set your lineup for the entire week, every day. Boom, 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 boom. Sure. Typically, you have your squad. You don't need to make that many
you're not
moves.
moving too.
I've won the league that Big Uncle Shane there. He's run last 2 years. I've won it 2 years in a row.
Baseball fantasy?
No, basketball.
Oh, okay. Oh, just
for last 2 years. I beat Chernick this year.
Of course.
Yeah. So it was close though. It was close. But yeah, the baseball I haven't done only because it is the effort is massive. Like it takes a while. It's a lot of it's a lot. And
the last time I did fantasy baseball was 1,000 years ago. I was working at like a tech company in the afternoon to pay for my hobby that was radio before I met you, Scotty, and before I got to ERZ. And I remember being in this league, and we're all building our teams. We're going through the draft, and I'm like, because he was a rookie, I remember saying, "Who in the fuck is Derek Jeter?" And I grabbed him, and it worked out. Yeah, I'll never forget that. It was his rookie year. I'm like, who's this kid?
Did you see the Bill Burr when he joined Nesson last night? No. Which he needs to be on.
Heard about it. Yeah.
He needs to be on every night. I love Bill Burr.
He's so funny. He's so funny. He's such a good job. And he did an impression of Jeter.
Yep.
And he stood up and did the whole Jeter would do the with the
lean out. Yeah.
Give me a friggin' ball 6 out of 10 times, even though it's a friggin' strike. And he was just like, dude, it was. Euclid was loving it. Euclid was just laughing his ass off.
Yeah, the way Jeter would always dive out of the way. He'd always extend out of the way like it was going at his head.
Yep. He was so fucking dramatic.
Really funny.
That should have been the logo on his cleats instead of him jumping and throwing.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Yeah, exactly.
The Jumpman cleats. Well, pro tip, if you have some time while you're on YouTube, enjoying everything at atbshow.com, please take a second to just go into the search bar on YouTube's and look for Bill Burr Hampton Beach Tour. And thank me later. It's a few summers ago. He's playing the casino, and he's coming down the back steps, and he does a tour of Hampton Beach. And you can only imagine what ensues.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like no holds barred, makes fun of everyone in sight, and as an original masshole that grew up going to the Cape and making fun of Hampton Beach at its peak, tank tops and fried dough and crotch rockets and
Speedos and
yeah, every girl has 19 tattoos. Yeah, it's absolute gold. Bill Burr is hysterical. Have you ever seen him live?
I have not actually. It's on the list of to-dos, man.
That's a bucket list. Like I think Janina knows that if she ever finds reasonable tickets, because it just hysterical. So funny.
He's one of my favorite comedians. There's no question. Yeah,
one of the best just quick jokes that he has. He goes, anybody get that dad that blamed everything on your mother? And he's like, you're walking out of the house, you're heading to the car, you're walking out, and it starts to rain, and your father looks up and just goes, "You goddamn mother," Everything's mom's fault. Your mother caused all the problems in his life. Like he's hysterical.
Amazing.
He is hysterical. Went on a tangent about Bill Burr. I apologize. Redhead people and the Celtics. I'll take Scal for $15. Are we to the Celtics now that you both uniformed up? I'm sorry I didn't wear my it's 420. I should have worn my Robert Parrish shirt. He would have enjoyed that. Yes.
He would have loved it.
Yes, he would have loved it.
The Chief would have been a big fan.
Yeah, coming out of the fog on that one. Yeah, so let's get to the Celtics. Talk to me about how much hope do you have for tonight? Or I'm going to just jump right out and say I think they even the score tonight, which bothers me, and I think that's what happens. But talk to me. You're the experts.
Yeah, I think it's strong. Look, I think a couple of different folks have said this already, and I completely agree. It's disappointing. This is a first-round matchup. It just is. You know what I mean? This is an Eastern Conference final type of like this is such a great matchup.
Yeah.
We knew it beforehand. We knew how freaking hard this was. This is the draw we didn't want.
Right.
I look at like Milwaukee and Chicago and what they did to the Bulls the other night, and I'm watching. Even though the Suns just lost, but what the Heat are banging up against the Hawks and beating the hell out of them.
Butler,
but
dear
it's like,
Lord,
I know. Yeah, he's playing really well. But I think each game is going to be what we just saw. And it's a strong possibility. I still have a lot of hope. I mean, that game was incredible. The big thing is what I'm happy. A, they won, but B, they realized that they're going to have to constantly be aware the run's coming, right? Meaning like they were up by 15 points in the second half. And I kept thinking I'm down here in my basement by myself yelling at my, 60-inch TV, be like, run's coming. The run's coming. Yeah. And all of a sudden Kyrie just, started just doing this and, paid $50,000 for that. And then, but dropped 39 and had a huge fourth quarter, but the run was coming. And it's going to happen. It's going to always happen. But the fact that they kind of endured still was able to, even when Kyrie hit that three with 40 seconds left, I was like, no shit. Yeah, okay, we're in something. And then of course they decided not to play defense. Brown goes down and he scores. And Kyrie, goes ahead and tries to play hero ball. By the way, not enough is talked about Horford's defense on that last defensive possession. Horford and Smart, how well they played Kyrie to force that horrible shot, which was good defense by Tatum as well against Durant. Horford's been, obviously played really good defense, I think, this year and has jumped in. But when he dropped 20 on Sunday, I was just, blown away. If they can get, which they're not going to all series, but the games they're going to win, you're going to see them get that 20-point out, pouring from, either Horford or Smart or White, right? Brown, I think, is going to shoot better than he did on Sunday. It'll be interesting to see how they continue to play Tatum, because Tatum took a while to kind of get into the game, mostly because they were throwing double teams at him. Yeah. So the rest of the series, it'll be interesting to see if they continue to do that or not, especially tonight. But if they can keep shooting the way that they did and continue to play, pass the ball, move the ball the way that they have, it'll be interesting. The last point I'll make, and sorry for the tangent here, one thing that we didn't talk about before the series started was the officiating, right? And in basketball, the officials have probably more influence or just as much influence, if not more, than
Sure.
any other professional sport, right? They can make or break games very, very easily on their end, and they're also very superstar dominant. So they're going to be like, oh, it's Kyrie. He has 4 fouls. He can go ahead and shove his fist up, Smart's ass when he goes up for a jumper.
Yeah.
But we're not going to call anything, even though he fell on his ass. And Kyrie fouled 3 different players in the last, 2.5, 3 minutes of the game because he had picked up his 4th. And they didn't.
Right, he fouled Tatum on that last layup.
Yep.
He did, yeah, and he bumped him or whatever. So yeah, they're not. That's the biggest concern that I have. The way that they were calling it to start the game, the way they called the game the whole time. I even think I said it in the text. I'm like, I don't like the way it was being officiated, especially basically for the Celtics, because then they're going to be like, oh, we can't let Durant and Kyrie foul out. That's not fair. You know what I mean? They're not going to do that. So that's something to watch for the rest of the series is how the officials, go about it. But I have hope tonight. I really do. I would love to see them go up 2-0. I still say Celtics in 6. I know they're going to drop probably. I think they are going to drop at least 1 or 2 games in the series, but I think all of them are going to be pretty close.
Well, I had said 7, meaning, but I had said 9, which I meant like I see 8 overtimes coming. So we were close to seeing 1 the other day. I'm glad we didn't. I want to be wrong. I want them to win in 4. Like I would love to just get it over with. But yeah, I feel like this score gets even tonight. And I sort of love that because we're so spoiled. We're involved in so many playoff series with all of our teams. And yet at the same time, they're never easy. Like to me, it always like to you, even a 6-game series will be like heart wrenching, just to watch it all unfold. We're just super lucky to be here. The fact that I think honestly, the Celtics are so poised to, if they knock off a couple of teams that people are just assuming will lose to, the Celtics are poised to do. I mean, absolutely get to the dance. I don't know what happens when we get to the West, but I don't think that they struggle. I don't think if they play well and they keep clicking, and God, if we got Time Lord back, and I don't know what's the time frame on him coming back, pun intended.
At first, people were saying potentially this series, but there's been some things come out lately that it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
People are saying like, oh, Game 6 he might be back, but it's very unlikely.
Yep.
They are saying that Simmons for the Nets might actually be joining this series by Game 4. But we'll see what happens there. I think to your point too, Timmy, is like it is so hard. When the Celtics do beat the Nets, right? Going with optimism there. The next series to me, like this is such a test. The next series, they'll be, to your point, poised and really just frothing at the mouth, ready to go for the next group or next team, because this to me, again, this is such a huge test. This is like a finals type of opponent, and they're just I think their edge will be sharp, and I think they'll be ready for that next one. I don't perceive them having that letdown because it is the first round, and this is the type of team that's not going to be like, okay, we beat the Nets, it's fine, we knocked out Kyrie and Kevin Durant, that's enough, that's our end game. I don't see them doing that.
Rubber shoes, your thoughts?
I freaking hate, as I said on the text the other day, I can't take 6 or 7 games like this. It's freaking a heart attack every game. But one thing I take from the first game is Tatum. Tatum was phenomenal, both ends of the floor. He was guarding Durant a lot in that game. He shut him down that last play. And he is moving the ball around great. If he's getting double team, he's finding the open guy. He played phenomenal. The problem is that I'm worried about is the refereeing, and Tatum does not get star treatment like the other stars in the league.
Completely agree.
That's a problem because I've watched the Sixers series and the calls that Harden and Embiid are getting. It's like if we're gonna have to deal with this every round. It's like you're gonna play against guys that are gonna get these calls all the time, and it's gotta just as a fan, it's frustrating. How's it feel to be that player when you're getting hacked and nothing's being called, and you just brush up against the guy and you're getting called a foul? I mean, Daniel Tice, that he can't have anyone within 2 feet of him or he gets called.
Yeah,
it's awful.
That was tough to watch, especially for him because he was playing he earned at least 3 of those fouls, but you know, there was
definitely.
2 of them that were like he did not. I mean, he was straight up. He wasn't. His arm didn't come down. Like he was playing good, solid defense. He was moving his feet. Like, yeah, there were some really rough calls in there.
What do
And
you
like
think?
I hated the I definitely hated a couple of the calls that like from the announcing perspective, like Van Gundy and those guys, because like they were talking about how Celtics were manhandling Durant off the ball. I'm like, that's how you play Durant off the ball. You don't just let him get to his spot. What the no?
Yeah.
And the fact that then the other thing that really drove me nuts was that the Kyrie elbow that basically almost broke Jalen Brown's nose.
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's nothing. And I'm like, first of all, it's not nothing. If you want to call it anything, it's incidental. Fine. But
Right.
to me, that was still a foul. Like he's still flailing to get the ball. He hit him. You know what I mean? They've called that before.
Sure.
They should call it. And I was a little pissed about that. Like, you know, I don't know.
And probably the biggest frustrating thing watching that first game is not having Time Lord. I thought if he was in that game, they win 15 easy, because where they were cut, where Durant started scoring and Kyrie started scoring, they were coming into the paint and they were taking those the pop-up shots, and I'm like, Robert Williams would have been right there for all of those.
Yeah,
And,
it's definitely tough. The mid-range game is defensively it's definitely a tough spot. But I think the other thing that they miss with Time Lord too, Billy, is that the pick and roll on offense, right? Like the way that he's offensive rebounds and stuff like that too. I mean, the Celtics have that advantage, and if he ever does come back, it's going to be a huge advantage,
Yep.
no pun intended, because they're just taller. They're just high. Their height's great.
Horford's playing like he's 10 years younger right now. It's amazing. I think they managed his time, which I hate that during the regular season. But a guy his age and the wear and tear that basketball players take, you need to do it. And he looks like a spring chicken out there right now. And so the schedule right now helps our guys, because we have some older guys that need the rest in between.
Oh, you mean 15 days between games? Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe it's like if this goes 7 games, it takes 2 full weeks. It's freaking crazy.
Well, of course, it was Easter, so I was in Chelmsford, and the game's over, and Aiden's like, "When's the next game?" I'm like, "Wednesday." Just shooting off the top of my head, hadn't even looked. And he's like, "Shouldn't it be Tuesday?" I'm like, "It'll be Wednesday." And he looks up, he's like,
Good
"Yeah,
guess.
it's Wednesday. Of course it is." Like, "Oh yeah, game 3 is probably in November." I'm like, they're just. Why rush this? Why rush this? So, defensive player of the year. I think everybody agrees that was awesome. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. And I think a couple more things. First and foremost, the way they're all, and if it's happening, and it's been happening because they've been playing better basketball. That pass to Tatum, like just him being the role player, distributing the ball, and they all love to take their shots, and there's some people on the team more so than Marcus that are the kings and queens of iso ball. That pass, just showing what they are capable of doing if they keep the ball moving, was just like basketball 101. It was so awesome. Almost couldn't believe when he hit it, and like everybody, like, because the crowd was frenetic. The floor didn't seem that frenetic. I guess Tatum didn't seem that over the moon, and I'm like, are they calling it? Are they saying the buzzer went? Like, we're watching the replay to make sure that he got it off his fingertips in time. Was just phenomenal. And I guess the only other thing that's like, and I hate using this, so I won't actually, I'm going to say it, but I hate using this phrase, the game within the game, is what is going to be the interaction between, Sir Finger Twists and the crowd. Because now that they know they got him fined, and here's the thing, and I do believe him, I think there was a level of bullshittery when he was being interviewed the other night, asked on the dais the other night about the hostilities. Like, no hostility, bro, just basketball. And the guy kept asking, no hostility. He's like, okay, so the energy you were displaying with the fans in the Garden. And he goes, that wasn't the first time. You just haven't seen it. That is 4 scoops of bullshit with a side of French fries, because he's one of those, like, there's no way he's been flipping off NBA crowds this season and we just haven't caught it. Like, mouthing off, fine. Like, there's a lot of that, because it's probably one of the most the proximity of the fan to the player and the playing surface is, unmatched. And there's mouthing off going all the time. Now, we've seen this in certain cases in certain cities where it gets derogatory, racial, people have been kicked out, all that kind of stuff. But for him to say that we just didn't catch it before. No, there's a level of Boston that gets under your skin. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, haven't checked him with his witch doctor. I don't think he's saged any other arena in the NBA. It was just the Garden.
He was just talking about the Boston fans. He wasn't talking about other places that he's done that. It's been just in Boston.
So he was saying that he's done it. He's flipped us off before, and we just hadn't caught it. I don't know if I believe that.
Well, he had the bottle incident last year.
Sure, which was ridiculous. That was stupidity on our part. Yep.
But the thing is, we haven't got under his skin because he dropped 39 on us.
Yeah, he dropped 39. Like you're not.
I kind of hope the fans take the opposite approach tonight and they cheer him every time he touches the ball. And
the Bronx cheer. That would be hysterical. Yeah. Yes, because he's going to feed off of it because that's who he is, and here's the thing. No matter if you want to boo him tonight, like I've always said to my boys, and I know we've had this conversation, I've always said to my boys, when we're at BC football or any college sport, when the opposing team comes out, you never boo them, the student athletes. And I know you could argue that because of NIL. By the way, did you see John Daly and John Daly Jr.? Name, image, likeness with Hooters? Did you see that?
Oh, really?
Oh, amazing. We'll talk about that some other time, but that's amazing. God bless college athletes. And, like, you just don't boo student athletes. So whatever people choose to do tonight, you're still doing it to one of the best players in basketball on the planet. And he, like to your point, Rubber Shoes, drops 39 with all of that going on. He's stroked a check for $50,000 to the league this week. He'll be back in there tonight feeding off it again. So whatever they decide to do, and I think we can agree, the average jabroni, Bostonian, kid, guy, wicked pissa fan is going to lean into it to a level of stupidity tonight. I pray nobody chucks a water bottle tonight or does anything else or takes it to that level, because this is where we hear all the statements. We get very upset when athletes talk about how we're closed-minded or we're a racist city and athletes of color don't want to come play here because of who we are and all of that. And there's some truth to that statement. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of us that would say, no, we're a different city. But if that happens tonight, that's just where we know the story's going to go, because it's a bunch of Irish fans or whatever. The most of the people in the Garden, are going to be viewed as picking on this one player, and they can skew that storyline however they choose. So I hope people behave tonight.
And I think it's all Boston biggest fear right now is someone ruins like the kid that threw the bottle, right?
Yep.
Just don't do that. Don't be stupid.
Please don't.
Just don't do that.
But you know what, Scotty? When we talk about stuff on this show, minutes later it takes place. So I feel like we're already putting it out into the ether. And the game tonight's 7:30, right?
7.
7. Oh God, we gotta go.
Yeah, 1 hour.
We're gonna go. Well, you guys are home. I gotta go.
But it's it's for me, it's like a couple of things real quick too. Is like you brought up the Marcus Smart thing. Mm-hmm. Love the fact that Gary Payton showed up to deliver the award, because he's the first guard to win the award since Gary Payton back in 95-96, the glove GP. Love that. Also love the fact that people are hating on it so friggin' much, and like all the big men like Bam and Rudy are like, oh, we should have won, blah, blah, blah. And Doris Burke said it, I thought, perfectly. She voted for Marcus Smart. And the reason she voted for Marcus Smart is because the NBA is a perimeter-based league now. That is what it is. It is not a big man league. It's not. Your defensive stats are going to lean towards the big guys a lot of the times, and they affect shots and all that stuff, and I get that. But the best defensive player in a perimeter-based league was on the best defensive team, and that's why she voted for him, and I completely agree. I thought that was a perfectly well-defined comment on what the defensive player of the year, especially for the NBA right now, is. The second thing is around the Kyrie situation. I wish they would not harp on him so much. It's not going to happen, right? They're going to jeer him and go freaking nuts.
Sure.
I would love the Bronx cheer, because Kyrie to me is like Reggie Miller in the Garden, right?
Heats it up.
There's people will be like just sit down and shut up, because all he's going to do is just take it and just turn it into another 40-point night. Yep. So just try to mess with him in a different way instead of just like screaming and like just booing him. And I don't know. That's not going to happen. They're going to like scream and do the Boston thing, as long as they don't take it too far. Go ahead, Billy. Sorry, go ahead.
Just don't throw the bottles, please.
Yeah, I gotta. Have you guys watched any of the Winning Time on HBO?
Oh my god, so pissed about that last episode. I freaking hated it.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about the Lakers?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
HBO?
dramatization.
I have
They
not.
show
I
stuff.
haven't even hit play on episode 1. I do want to because I think everybody in it looks amazing, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, the show itself is like the acting is decent, but the show, like the story and all that, it's to say it's dramatization. It's almost total fiction. Almost everything on there is bullshit.
Oh,
Go ahead,
really?
Billy, go ahead. Oh yeah.
No, I've looked up stuff that's happened that I've questioned in my mind, and all the events they're using are pretty spot on. They definitely dramatizing it for
the
TV.
first time that they played, that Bird and Magic played, was actually in LA, and they did win. They beat the shit out of the Celtics that day. When they did play in Boston, they had actually beat the Pistons in Detroit the night before, not lost. Like they were making like this whole like thing, and then they did beat the Celtics at the buzzer or whatever, like by 2. And Bird didn't actually play great; he played okay. But I don't know. It's all the stuff that the way they're portraying these characters, which by the way, they don't need to portray them this way. I don't want to get into this because this is going to be a whole thing, but I got the whole opinion on it. But go ahead, Billy. Sorry.
I wanted to see, because I'm loving it, but I was a Lakers fan back then, so I wanted to see what the point of view from a Celtics side is.
As a recovering Lakers fan, we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about John Daly and John Daly Jr. with his name, image, likeness, Hooters. I can't believe you haven't seen this story. It's amazing.
I'm definitely looking it up as soon as we're done.
God bless him. Come for the breast, stay for the wings. And yeah, phenomenal choice. As a college athlete, are you kidding me?
Couldn't be better. No, it's perfect.
Could not be better. We're going to talk about the draft next week for the NFL. The Bruins skating well. Will Linus Ullmark be back? Do you think he'll be healthy for the run when we get to the playoffs, Rubber Shoes?
Yeah, I think everything is trending in the right direction for all the players that are out. Pasternak, Lindholm, and Ullmark. They're all trending the right way. Carlo came back the next game, so he was fine. I think things are – they're saying week to week, and it's like the first time I've ever heard – like football I can understand week to week because I only play one game a week.
Yeah.
But I don't ever remember hearing that for hockey. It sounds like it's a new thing, and because they don't want to have people ask them every day, maybe. Sure. Oh, what's the status on him? Yeah. Oh, he's week to week, so you don't ask me till next week. Yep, but I have in my heart, I feel if the playoffs started tonight, they'd all be playing.
Okay, so almost ready to go. That's gonna be good.
Yeah,
you'll love this. This will you guys will adore. Aiden's girlfriend got him Marchand shirt for this is back in February, was his birthday, but she got him a Marchand shirt and tickets. They went to the game the other day when they clinched against
nice.
And they were down on the ice. Yeah, she
against John Henry's team.
Yep, and they were down sitting in the corner. They were sitting on the side where the Bruins shot twice, so really good seats.
That's awesome.
And he was at the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
everything about that story is great except for the shirt she bought him.
Why? But here's the thing, and I should share the photo.
I still can't stand him.
Oh, Brad, come on now.
Yeah,
come on.
I love Marchand. I love Marchand.
So she has. What you have to understand is Aiden's 5'7.5" if he's lucky, and his girlfriend Grace is 6 feet tall. So she has. She plays volleyball. And he's short. So she has a pasta shirt on, and he's got the Marchand shirt.
Oh,
on.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
good.
funny. So when they're standing next to, they have a shot of the two of them standing back side by side, showing the back of their shirts, and she clears them by all the inches. But they have prom coming up. I said, you need to wear heels. She needs to wear flats. That's how we're going to level this out. So yeah, we'll share all those photos when the time comes. We appreciate you guys checking out the show, ATB show, for all of the content. I want to get to the rest of our Instagram for sure, where Rubber Shoes is every day doing the Rubber Shoes wrap up and rant, brought to you as is this program by our friends at AAA Work Trucks. Please share, like, subscribe, so when a new show hits, and of course we're live. We won't be live next week because I'm off next week. So we won't be live next week, but the show will be up as always on a Wednesday night for sure. And we'll see you guys right back here for draft talk as we get ready for
your
the
Derby
end of the
picks
month.
ready, Tim, for when you come back.
The Derby picks. Oh my God, it's that time of the year.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I forgot about that. All that stuff. We'll see you back here. And yeah, give him the bird, Scotty. Give him the bird. Love it. Love the bird shirt. Is that a throwback like a hardwood classic, or is that just
Hardwood classic? Yep.
hardwood classic? Amen. All right, guys. We'll see you, and thanks for watching the show. We'll see you next week.